Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and I'm joined as always with Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo, yo, yo!
This is another episode of Classics of Cinematics, man. And today we got a big one, but I want to take a quick second, man, to point out that we've hit a little goal. You know, we've hit over 200 subscribers to the channel, man. We appreciate y'all for taking the time to tune in and check us out, man. And you know, hopefully this momentum keeps going, man. It's making us hyped to come here and do these episodes every day, man. So we definitely appreciate that, man.
Yes. Got big love for y'all. Thanks for showing us the love and support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so today we got a heavy hitter, folks, man. We're going to be talking about a film that had a lot of influence from a director that has a lot of influence and has had on filmmaking in general. And we're going to be talking about Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. And this film came out October 14th, 1994. And the story goes as this, man. Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield are hitmen with the penchant for philosophical discussions. In this ultra-hip, multi-strand crime movie, their storyline is interwoven with those of their boss, gangster Marcellus Wallace, his actress wife, Mia, struggling boxer Butch Coolidge, master fixer Winston Wolfe, and a nervous pair of armed robbers, Pumpkin and Honey Bunny. And that sounds crazy, bro.
Right.
So, this film was directed by Quentin Tarantino. I think this was this was his second directorial film. I think Reservoir Dogs was the first.
Yep.
We've already talked about that on here. And this was put out by Miramax at a time. And I think this is one of those films that kind of helped cement Miramax in that era, man. It's kind of messed up, you know, later what we will find out about Harvey Weinstein, man. But they were cooking as far as putting out, you know, giving films like this and filmmakers, you know, doing this kind of on the edge stuff, you know, a chance during that era, man.
Definitely.
But yeah, let's get into it, man. What's one of the things you like about this, man?
I mean,
hold up, my bad. I looked out of order. Let's talk about this cast. My bad. Made that out. But yeah, so let's talk about this cast, man. We've got Uma Thurman, Quentin Tarantino pops up in this, John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, Maria de Medeiros, Christopher Walken, Tim Roth, Harvey Keitel, Ving Rhames, Amanda Plummer, Steve Buscemi, Eric Stoltz, Rosanna Arquette, Peter Green, Frank Wiley, Angela Jones, and it says Danny DeVito, he was in here, or was he? What was he at?
I couldn't pull him out.
Yeah, that's crazy. I definitely remember seeing Kathy Griffin, Alexis Arquette, Phil Lamar, Paul Calderone, and I guess the rest of these are going to be smaller, minor characters in the film, man. But this thing was a monster, man.
That's a cast within a cast within a cast within a cast.
Yeah, I think this thing won the Cannes Film Festival big award. You know what I'm saying?
I'm surprised.
Yeah, and I think you know, people talk to this day that, you know, they felt like it got snubbed at the Oscars, but you know, it is what it is.
But you got to think of what other movies came out at that time. I mean, we also had True Lies that dropped. We had Forrest Gump. You know what I'm saying? Speed. I mean, there were other films that this one was kind of, you know, battling with. Yeah,
it did get some awards. So I think it got 26 nominations. It got Best Original Screenplay at the 67th Academy Awards.
Justifiably
so. But but I think it probably should have, you know, possibly got Best Picture, man. Definitely, I think made a case for itself in that year. I got to see what beat it or whatever, you know. But what's one of the things you like about this thing, man?
I mean, at front and center, I mean, it has to be the dialogue. The dialogue of this film. I mean, the banter between the characters. It's so gripping, so entertaining, and so authentic. You know what I mean? Like it really supersedes everything that we're watching on the screen. You know what I mean? The only thing about the dialogue that kind of just leaves a sour taste in my mouth every time I watch this is all of the racial slurs. There is an abundance of racial slurs and you know, stereotypical bigotry that goes on throughout this film that I think it would have played a little better had they just left that out. I don't really understand the purpose.
There's a couple scenes that I would say mostly that scene with Tarantino after they you know, kill the guy, you know, on the way to they blow the guy's head off on the highway.
Yeah.
And they need to take refuge to clean this thing up because they're running around with a bloody car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And and that whole dead and,
And what he's saying to Jules, and I'm just waiting for Jules, man, smack a dang spark out his face.
But it's the thing, it's like, and I feel like Jules is not the type of person that's going to take that, but under the circumstances with the pressure being there and they need this guy's help, you got to tolerate that. But at the same time, I'm looking at this like this scene or him saying that isn't necessary, man.
Right.
It's a thing that I'll push back on with him and Scorsese is like they throw these things in there, man, specifically with that N-word. And I'm like, bro, like you could have told this in a way and got a better reaction. To me, it's like there probably is going to be people that laugh at that when he spits those lines. But I'm like, all right, who are you doing this for? Who are you signaling with that, And
then another thing is, I mean, we're not even 5 minutes into the film. And when we get our first introduction to Tim Roth's character and I think it was, what was her name? Honey Bunny?
Yeah, Honey Bunny.
Honey Bunny and Pumpkin.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, 3 minutes into the film, I mean, he's dropping slurs. He covers almost all his bases.
Yeah, he does everything but black people. He goes down the line.
And I'm just, and I was rewatching it this time. I was like, what purpose does that serve? You know what I mean? So, but outside of that,
I get the idea of putting us in some of these characters' minds, but leaving that out is not going to make them less complete as individuals, in my opinion.
The robbery's still going to take place.
Yeah.
Everything's still going to happen.
You're still going to know these guys are some crazy people from probably England, maybe overseas with their accents. Like, you can fill in the blanks without giving us that extra.
And the most memorable conversations, banter, dialogue in this film doesn't have anything to do with any of that.
None of that. But yeah. So speaking on the dialogue, it's just great how we open this film with two dudes. We get the scene with Honey Bunny, and it's interesting, man. You really. What shocks you is you haven't heard dialogue like this. Even with the negative, they're sitting there planning the robbery and making compelling conversations. Like, you could really cut down on the hero factor by sticking up a diner. Everybody just trying to eat their food and get up out of here. And like in this interesting conversation, and it pulls you in. And it's crazy that this film was heralded so much for its dialogue. And you think about going to see a movie, you're like, dialogue. Who care about dialogue? Yeah. But seeing it go down, and it's magical, man. I think it is. I think it caused people to step up in general. Like I said, this film is very influential and put more effort into those parts and the dialogue and stuff that was, being said in the scenes that were usually filler or just used for exposition, but he makes them interesting. It reminds me of one of my favorite comic book artists, Todd McFarlane, and he got big in the I think it was late 80s, early 90s for doing Spider-Man, and he told just great artists all around, but one of the things he always says is if you could make the small tiny panels interesting, then the big wide splash pages of action, they're going to come easy. And I think that's what's going on with Tarantino's writing style.
Absolutely. I mean, and to your point, right there, you just tossed me the ultimate alley. I'm about to LeBron James this jump because, we get what we get from, Honey Bun and Pumpkin, but then we segue right into the two most memorable characters in this film, which is Jules and Vega. And that whole conversation with the Royale, with cheese and all that stuff. That's just, we're laughing, we're getting to know them. We see that, these guys, they don't just work together, they're homies. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then that carries us into them going in to go see Brad, big brain Brad, and get that suitcase back. And dude, that is probably my most favorite scene in this film. And it's, we're about 10 minutes into the movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is great dialogue, man, and it holds up. And it's, like I said, they're talking about burgers, but it's interesting. It sounds interesting. What do we call a Big Mac in Le Royale? And
we're learning too. He's like, they do it this way because of the metric system. Yeah. I didn't know that before I saw this film. Mm-hmm. I could have, if I would have opened up a book.
The quarter pounder.
Yeah, the quarter pounder. If I would have, wanted to research that, I could have. Mm-hmm. But at that time in '94, I was not concerned.
I wasn't thinking about that.
I wasn't concerned with what they call a quarter pounder in Amsterdam or France or wherever he was. I was like, man, I ain't never gonna go there.
Yeah. it's great, man. It's just really great dialogue, man.
Yes.
Some of the best moments, especially that first Jules and Vince scene, man, when they're talking to these guys and basically they come to collect something. It seems like
the briefcase.
It seems like these guys have ran afoul of Vince and Jules' boss, and they've been sitting there to collect and not just collect, but also kind of clean up the scene. Like we're not leaving nobody, no survivors.
Oh, because we found out that Marcellus, he's one of those. If you cross me, I'm gonna take you out.
Yeah, and they go there to retrieve some property of Marcellus Wallace and to clean up the scene. Like, I think they effectively they kill everybody, man, except for one guy. But it's also interesting. We get just really great moments. Sam Jackson just takes over this film, man. Like on that scene, and it's crazy to me because this was his like the role that broke him out, and I think Jungle Fever was just as great as a performance, but I was telling you earlier, man, maybe because he played a crackhead, they probably thought he was really on crack.
Right.
I mean, but you know, if you know anything about Sam L. Jackson's history, he did have a really big drug problem early on in his career that might have prevented him from, you know, getting up in the game faster, you know, sooner.
Right.
But this film shows how great this guy is, man. That whole scene where he commands a room and he's talking about, you know, he's just messing with him. You know, he comes in, he's like, I got to do this crazy shit to these guys, but I'm coming in, I'm doing it in a manner that's as calm as possible. I'm not just right off the break, just gunning them down or whatever. He gives them a chance.
But he's still being a bully. He comes in
away.
I mean, he comes in there and he eats the man's burger. He drinks his drink. Say what again? Say what again?
Let me get some of that drink, and he finishes it. And
then he tells his homie, he was like, "This is a good burger. You want some?"
It's great, man. And then does Marcellus look like a bitch to you?
Oh yeah, he was like, "Yeah, tell me what Marcellus look like. Does he look like a bitch? Yeah, like you treat him like a bitch. What? Say what again?" I mean, this, like I said, when you hear Samuel raising his voice and cursing and just, I mean, and he's so, you know, articulate with his words. He's very well spoken in this as well. Oh, and while we're talking about, you know, him dropping the F-bombs, they said this film 265 times the F word was used.
That's crazy, man. I don't think it's a record though. But also I do like the fact that the sermon that he gives before it, you know, that's a great
Ezekiel, I think Ezekiel 2013 or something like that.
Yeah, and what's interesting about it is that's not a real Bible verse. That's just something that Tarantino made up. He made that up for the film. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, the path of the righteous man and all that. He made that up for this film. But yeah, that's great, man. Another thing that stands out to me, you know, we talked about the cast, but that's really strong here, man, because there are some veterans. Like it was crazy because Travolta, like he, by all intents and purposes, at this point, he kind of had retired from filmmaking, man. Like, and like it's not like he fell off or anything. He just hadn't done anything in a while, and this brought him a second life. I think
took him off the couch.
I think Phenomenon came out after this, and he just started getting more work. There was
remember he did Michael too. I think the one where he was like the angel. I don't know if that came out before or after
Face Off, you know, and you know those things, those opportunities open up, you know, more for him. And it's interesting. We were talking earlier. You were talking about what was that? The baby movie.
Look Who's Talking.
Look Who's Talking. And that's interesting because in that film, like which was a hit, you know, but it was years before this, and you know he starred in that, but also Bruce Willis, who's also in Pulp Fiction, does the voice of the baby in that movie, and then to see them kind of reunite on this film is real interesting. And like you said, we get you know, Sam Jackson, Bruce Willis adds a lot of meat to this, man. This is also Eric Stoltz early in his career, the whole heroin needle scene. We get Uma Thurman, and I think she had just been early in her acting career as well, because I think she came from the modeling phase, man. She was like a really well paid model, you know, leading up to this time, man. You know, at this time, and it's crazy to, you know, to even getting, you know, a great performance out of her as Mia Wallace, Ving Rhames as the big boss man in this thing. Like it's really good.
And here's the thing. Here's where, you know, hindsight is always 20/20, because right, like you said, Ving Rhames. That role was originally supposed to be played. It was first offered to Sid Haig to play Marcellus. Vincent Vega, played by John Travolta, was written for Michael Madison. And Bruce Willis's role as Butch, but Butch was supposed to be a younger boxer, and it was originally offered to Matt Dillon, but Matt Dillon was taking too long, and then decided what did he do? He decided to play it doesn't even say on here, but then but nevertheless, it was for Matt Dillon, and then when Bruce Willis took the role, he actually thought that he originally was going to play the role of Vincent Vega.
And that's another interesting fact. Basically, if you think about the Vega brothers, Vincent Vega is supposedly related to what's his name, George Clooney's character in Dusk Till Dawn. There's a loose connection, and there was always hopes that we would get a Vega Brothers movie, but
and that's another thing. Just to your point, I like how he throws in like the little Easter eggs and the shout outs to the other films. Like when we see Harvey Keitel as the wolf, when he calls whoever he speaks to on the phone about the green car, before he hangs up the phone, he was like, "You're a lifesaver, Joe." Of course, Joe was the one who got everyone together in Reservoir Dogs. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. So these are the little things where, it's just that's where it just shows how, Tarantino is kind of just, he's thinking
playing around,
40 steps ahead though, and always trying to, as wild as it seems, and as much as it like tree branches around, it always comes full circle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's almost like he's got this world that he's created that he's playing around in and jumping around. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some reference to one of the Hateful Eight characters that connects to this movie some kind of way,
Yeah.
But it is weird. It's his own creation, but he's jumping around and playing with it. So another thing that stands out to me too is the storytelling itself, man. This is essentially, it almost feels like an anthology film, but aside from a normal anthology where everything is self-contained, we have these connections that's going on between each of these vignettes, as I would say, because we got the Jules story, Jules and
Vega.
And Vince story. Then we've got the Butch story, which is basically a boxer who's having a conflict with his conscience, being offered by a mob boss to take a dive in a fight. And then we've got
we got Vega and Marcellus's wife. That's a whole other situation within itself. And then we still have this,
and then the bank robbery. But what makes them connected is that these characters overlap into each other's stories, which is crazy. But when I talk about the storytelling, what stands out to me is the way it's told. It's not a chronological thing. We're jumping back and forth. And one of the things, I looked up an article to figure out, when does this movie really start on a chronological scale? And the first scene of this film is the scene with Christopher Walken. If you want to put it in chronological order, it's when Christopher Walken talks to the young Butch about how he smuggled his dad's watch out of Vietnam by hiding it in his ass. which is one of the best moments, man. It's just
Butch is like, he's like 70. He's like, yeah, your dad kept this in his ass for 7 years, and then I kept it in mine for 4.
I love Christopher.
Now it's for you.
It's one of the highlights, I think, of Christopher Walken's career. Just the few minutes of him sitting there and doing his Christopher Walken, his inflections and his there's something that happens with his voice when he's talking. I can't imitate it, but it's amazing. Like when you see him doing it, man, it's great doing it, and I think that also helped this thing stand out. The jumping back and forth, and he could have told this thing chronologically, but by splitting it up like that, it enhances it a little bit, man. It makes it stand out a little bit. It makes the story seem at least a little bit more oomph to it. Like you would later on see several films that imitated that. One of the ones I think that did it really well and might have done it better than this film is a film called Go. I think that came out about maybe 99 or 2000, something like that. And it's just about these kids raving, but the way they do that same thing where we're telling the story out of order and things are overlapping, it's great. But you see like I said, this film is real influential. You see that?
Yes, absolutely. And to your point, I mean, not only is it just so jumbled up, it kind of starts where it ends, and then you get all these characters, and you're just trying to, grasp everything that's going on. It is still very easy to follow. You know what I'm saying? There was no point where I was just watching this movie and felt lost.
Yeah.
Where, like you said, there were other films that came out after this, with the exception of Go, that they try to do this, and at the end, it's just like, man, what just happened? Like, I'm confused. You know what I mean? So, like, the way Tarantino did this, I mean, he did it in the best way it could have possibly been done, and kept the entertainment value at an all-time high. That is the reason why this film grossed the amount of money that, I mean, dude, this film came out off an $8.5 million budget.
What? They got this for everyone. They must have believed in the script, because they probably all work for scale, dude, which is like, if you know anything about filmmaking, scale would be the bare minimum, according to the Screen Actors Guild, that you could pay an actor for work. And for them to get this for, what did you say?
8.5 million to
make $213 million at the box office, and probably another few $100 million in rental sales and DVD sales and VHS tapes.
It says right under this, $5 million went to the actors' salaries. It made that all back in its first week in the U.S. box office.
Yeah, because I ended up seeing this on VHS when it first came to rental, but it was something that I wanted to see in a theater, but I ain't had no money. I'm a high schooler, bro. I was in like 94. I was 94. Yeah, I was in 10th grade in 94, bro. So I ain't had no money, man. So, eventually it comes out and, we're renting it. You know what? I first saw it. Shout out to my homie, man, Kev, man. What's up with Kevin Selman, man? And I think it was also like exam week at high school. So I went to the school earlier that day, did my exam, and I had the rest of the day all to myself. And then I go to his spot, and he actually had this. Folks had rented it, and we sat there and watched it. And man, we was laughing our ass off, yo. Yeah. He said, say what again?
I'm gonna shoot you. They shot Brad right in the shoulder. Yeah. And then I love that part when he's like, you know why they call it Royale with Trees? And Brad's like,
Royale with Trees? That might actually be good, dude.
Yeah, I mean, everybody want to be healthy now.
Put a little sprinkle of THC on that.
Hey, I got things to do when the show's over. My mind's elsewhere. But no, I love the part where he's like, yeah, you know why they call it Royale with Cheese? And Brad's like, the metric system. Well, check out the big brains on Brad. Samuel is just such a trip. And another thing about this film that's just wild is it was released in South Korea, Japan, and even Slovakia before it was released in the U.S.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I remember hearing, like I said, that year it got the Palme d'Or from the Cannes Film Festival, which is their highest award. So the buzz on this was crazy, man. Like, I remember I read like that was the thing, man. The internet wasn't popping back in '94. It was there. You had like AOL barely, but there wasn't no real websites or nothing. So we were relying on Entertainment Weekly or the magazines and stuff,
TV Guide
or the newspaper. And I just remember seeing so many articles saying how great this film is, how interesting, and yeah, man. But it was one that lived up to the hype, in my opinion, man. And it was showing me things in a way on the film that I'd never seen before. Also, another thing I like, shout out to the cinematography, man. There's moments of this that look so great, like just the way it's framed and filmed, like even Vincent and Vega and them going into to handle those guys, and it's weird because they stop and they realize they're early, and I'm like, does it matter when you guys show up there?
Right.
And it's weird. There's a shot where they stop and they look at the clock and they're like, man, it was not ready. And it's crazy because the camera lingers on the door as they step off to the side and talk about a little bit killing time before it's time to go back in. And even what was great too, like when Vega takes Mia out on a date, that whole that's one of the best moments of this film. Like cinematography wise, you know, we see them pull up to the place, they're walking in, and it almost gives me that vibe of when Henry Hill takes his girl out to the club the first time.
Yeah.
They go in, they get seated, and there's a thing with that's Marilyn Monroe, that's Jane Mansfield. This is, you know, and then all of that is so cool.
You know,
when it's well shot, man, like it's great.
When they were riding in the car, it took me back to Natural Born Killers. When they were cruising in the car, like
that gets me is when
everything, but it don't look like they moving.
But remember when Vega goes to meet his connect for the heroin, and he buys his bags, and then he's like, I gotta go take this chick out, and then he shoots up, and then he hops in the car, and then that song comes on. It's like bloom. He's just driving, and it's just he's riding.
That's one part. It don't even look like he's moving.
It's beautiful, dude. It's like a beautiful scene. You know what it reminds me of, dude? You ever seen Bullet?
Yes.
Yo, the only thing
with Mickey Rourke and Pop, right?
It's fucking me up because it's beautiful, but at the same time, I feel like it does glorify the drug use a little bit. Remember when they scored, it was him. Oh, I love Adrian Brody. I forgot he's in that.
Brody, the little brother.
And then they go get their shit, and then they shoot up, and then the Isaac Hayes song comes on.
It's Barry White. He's like, man. He was a big Barry fan, dude.
But it is like, it looks smoky. Man. But it's beautiful.
They almost make it look like
makes it look good. That's what I'm saying. Like it's beautiful.
We're not condoning that. We're telling you,
it's making it look it's making it look too good. But then you see what happens later, man. You know, where she overdoses. You know, she thinks he's got coke in his thing, and she brings out a big ass rail of heroin, and
next thing you know, oh no!
Like, you didn't taste this first?
Like, who just goes in someone's pocket like, drugs? Never tried. You know, come on, man. But and to your point, I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of Reservoir Dogs. I love Reservoir Dogs. But, you know, with that being his first film, I mean, even though, you know, cinematically it's great, you know, the camera angles, the banter, everything, you know, it gives us, you know, a great first look at what Tarantino's bringing, but it's unpolished. This film is a gem. You know what I'm saying? It covers all the bases that it needs.
I think, man, this still might be my favorite film of his, man. Like, in the overall think of body of work that he's done, man. Like,
it's easy to understand.
Yeah, and it has so much, man. You know, but there's great moments. I definitely love parts of the Kill Bill saga. I haven't watched it in a while, but I might you know, revisit it soon. I got, you know, that thing in the cup, but.
Just right right there, dude. The rewatchability of this, there's no questions asked. If you're sitting, you're chilling with a couple of your folks, you know what I'm saying, pop a couple beers and doing whatever it is that you do in your free time. Someone says, "Man, let's watch some Pulp Fiction."
Everyone knows it.
Ain't nobody gonna be like, "Nah, man."
Yeah,
I'd rather watch this instead, man. You might get jumped.
Yeah, we all familiar with the iconic moments, things of it, and like, what year does this take place, man? Like, I don't
exactly.
It feels like maybe let's say the late 80s, man. This feels like something that's going on in 88, man. They don't have cell phones. You look at the cars in the background, like
and the structures of the houses, the way
like Butch rolling around in like a late 70s Civic. You know what I'm saying?
You know, then when you're listening to a lot of the music that's playing, that's like the same kind of music that they were playing in Reservoir Dogs, which was supposed to take place in like the late 70s, early 80s.
That's another highlight, though. The music, dude. Like that's the one thing that stands out about Tarantino films. Like, a lot of times the music becomes a character almost, and he uses it well, man. There, like, some movies I feel like we're just trying to, you know, capitalize on the current wave, or we throw a song in there,
push it in there because they feel like it has to be there.
But the music, the use of music in him, like I said, that scene where Vega's high as hell, and then that bloom, and you're just like, yo,
it elevates the scene, it intensifies everything.
Check it out when they come back to when he drops her off, and she's like, "Come have a drink," and he's like, "No, dude, you're not gonna do this," because that's the thing. He's taking out the boss's wife, and that's pressure enough. Like, Like, all right, I got to make sure she has a good time. She's not going to come back to the boss and tell me, like, oh, yeah, he was.
And it doesn't help the fact that before they go see Brad and the boys, Jules is telling them about how homeboy got tossed out the window.
Rocky Horror.
Got tossed out the window because he gave her a foot massage. And I love that part too. And
but then when they come in, but the song is like, you should play some music and it's like, girl, you'll be a woman soon.
Yeah.
But then, but like the way he uses it, it enhances these moments so well, dude. Like it does, crazy, man.
It does. You know, and like you said, there are so many of the little things that just elevate this film to the next level, which is why it is so well revered. Why it's still, you know, on a lot of people's top 5, maybe top 2, number 1 list.
A lot of people,
it's very understandable why, you know.
Yeah, man. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, I mean, I can't really. It's not really much more I can think about it. Like, it's one of these things, man. It holds up. I think that's the biggest thing, man. Like, rewatchability is really high with this one, man, and like everything. When you see it, it hits you the same, man. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
And
it's a great film, man.
Because they don't time stamp it, that also helps, you know, it hold up, because we know we're not watching a film that takes place in 1989. So if there's any inconsistencies of what was going on at that time, you know, people aren't. It's very hard to nitpick this film. You know what I mean? You got to really go through it with a fine tooth comb. You know what I'm saying? To nitpick it. Also, it's the collector in me. I have to bring this up. Upon my research, I found out that, you know, we all know the poster art. You know, it's pretty much the shirt. What's her name? Marcel's wife sitting, Uma Thurman smoking a pack of cigarettes. When the film was first came out, Miramax dropped a line of posters where her pack of cigarettes was actually a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes. And they had the Lucky Strikes in that poster, but they did not get permission from Lucky Strike, nor did they pay them. And Lucky Strike was going to sue them big time. And so instead of paying them to have the cigarettes in the posters, they just pulled all the posters. So pretty much saying that to say this: if you are one of those individuals that has one of those posters, they're going for a grip right now.
Bro, I just typed Lucky Strike poster eBay, and Pulp Fiction Lucky Strike poster eBay, $2,889, $3,650, $3,595. There's a German version, $1,000. You know, so that's crazy. I guess this is a reproduction. Pulp Fiction, regular style, Lucky Strike roll.
Reproductions don't.
We don't.
We talking about that Authentico. You know what I mean? They're almost 4 racks.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Like that, like the title alone tells you what this film about, and I think that's what gives us the timeless nature of it. Even though the era of the pulp magazines were was way ahead of this time, but I think that's what he was going for, man. So by definition, pulp magazines were inexpensive fiction magazines that were published from 1896 to the late 1950s. The term pulp derives from the cheap wood pulp paper on which the magazines were printed. And they dealt with subject matter of this, man. Like even the Mia Wallace Vega story it's kind of cliche in this those magazine style. Like this is the I got to take the boss's wife out, and the craziness happens, after that, so yeah, it's dope, man. I definitely would recommend this film, man. And, in conclusion, it stands the test of time, man. It's an OG.
Yes. It's well worth the watch. Very entertaining. Even though it's a little over 2.5 hours, it plays fast. Very entertaining. And like I said, I mean, this is one you don't even have to watch it. You could put it on and go in the kitchen and start wiping the counters down or something. Because as long as you can hear what's going on, you will still be entertained. And there's not too many movies that can do that.
Not many, dude. Yeah, dialogue is strong on this, man. But yeah, I think that's it, folks, man. We're going to probably wrap this one up, man. We're going to catch you next time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of great stuff coming soon, man. I think up next, we're going to be probably talking about Predator, man.
Get to the chopper!
From 1987, because I think it'll be a good time to drop that one since we've got the Prey film coming out as well, man. So yeah, folks, man. But this is Monk. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Instagram. And Twitter. And follow Classics of Cinematics on Instagram.
And it's Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me on at Bobby Blockbuster 118 on Instagram.
Yeah, folks. All right, man. Peace. We're going to catch you next time.